Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. So I'm doing something a little bit different today. I'm doing a healing energy reading, and I'm gonna make this into a continuous series. So basically I'll be picking different topics that cause people to have a lot of internal conflict or that cause people a lot of pain, and I'll pull cards in order to give you some type of closure about those topics. So the first topic is going to be toxic parents, and I'm doing a separate video for parents that were absent, that were completely not in the home. So this reading is specifically for parents who were present but they were toxic in some way. So I'm hoping that the messages that come through will help you to gain some sort of clarity and closure. And I'll also be doing an extended video as well, and I'll leave the link to that in the description box down below. And feel free to comment and tell me which topics you want to see in this series. Okay, so quick water break, and then I'm going to tune into your energy. Okay, so on the left side is your parent's energy, on the right side is your energy. So your parent is coming up, your parent or your parents is coming up as the moon card. So to me, that means that your parents or your parent, the one in question here, is someone who feels things very deeply. They could also be very intuitive, like they are a very sensitive person. And there's a common misconception that when a person is sensitive or they're intuitive or they're spiritual in some way, that means that they are a good person. Like people equate, oh, this person's a spiritual being with being good or being righteous or having integrity, which is not the case. Because remember that demons or lower vibrational entities are also very spiritual. You know, they have access to spiritual information, just like spiritual beings who are of a higher vibration that want to help. So I feel like your parent could be into spirituality, but that doesn't have to be the case. I feel like they are sensitive and they are very much aware of other people's emotions, and they can kind of use it to their advantage. Because when someone's intuitive, they can use it in a positive way, kind of like reading tarot and helping people through certain things. But sometimes if you're intuitive and you're using it in a negative way, you're using it to read people and then manipulate people. So this person could be very manipulative. This parent, they could also be quite childish, is what I'm getting. Like when they don't get their way, I'm sensing some sort of temper tantrum they might throw, or they're gonna punish you if you do not do what they want you to do at the time. I feel like this person is also very sneaky. With the High Priestess card, I think this is someone who's more covert. Like they are underhanded with their approaches. Like they're underhanded with the way that they manipulate people. So you would never be able to tell. Like I'm not really picking up on an overt person who's just publicly manipulating and abusing people. It's more like putting on an act as if they're a very good person, but underneath it all, it's kind of like they're plotting, they're planning, they're toxic, they're manipulative, and no one's really going to believe you if you tell people this, because one, this is your parent. People don't want to believe that about parents. And two, this person puts on a good front. They have on a very good mask. The Death card is here, so Scorpio energy. Like I said, I feel like this parent has a lot of very deep, dark emotions that they don't discuss, but the way that it's manifesting in their life is that they kind of take that darkness and try to push it off onto other people in their environment, if that makes sense. On your end, we have the Air card in reverse. So I feel like this parent has really managed to kind of make you really mentally confused or mentally conflicted. I think that there's a part of you that feels like this is my parent, they raised me, they took care of me, and you kind of see them positively in some way, but then at the same time, you can't shake the feeling that you were harmed in some way by them. And like I said, I feel like this person is very covert. Like they are just very good at either playing the victim or gaslighting or something like that. And it leaves you in a state of confusion. Like you're of two minds about them. You're like, okay, this is my parent. They did the best they could and I love them and they have to love me because this is my parent. But then on the other hand, there's this struggle because you know that they've harmed you in some way. It's like a telltale sign that someone is abusive or manipulative when you can't decide how you feel about them. You're confused about how you feel about them and your thoughts get pulled in all different directions. And that's what I'm getting here. I think a lot of you are only aware of the toxicity of this person or of this parent because of memories that you have back to when you were living with them. Some of you could have moved out already. Some of you could still be living with them, but I think a lot of you have moved out. And the only way you can really verify that what you're thinking is right or correct is when you think back to certain situations that happened while you were living with them. You see what I'm saying? It's like when someone's so sneaky and manipulative that you have a hard time even pinpointing what it is about them that is abusive. All you have to do is think back to the way they made you feel or certain things that they did, and you're like, okay, no, this person or this parent, yes, they were abusive. I really hope I'm making sense. So, quick water break. I also feel like a lot of you could have been gaslighted a lot. And I think that plays a major role in why you can be very confused. You could be really blaming yourself for a lot of the things that went on. Some of you could be the black sheep or the scapegoat of the family. So, and as soon as I looked at my timer, it said 5:55 as soon as I said that. So I'm taking that as confirmation that a lot of you could be the black sheep of the family. I'm hearing spiritual attack. I heard physical attack too. So this person could have been violent as well, but I'm hearing spiritual attack. And that's, to me, that's very clear by the High Priestess and the Moon card. My readings, usually a spiritual undertone to them usually comes up. Like, this is not going to be a reading. Well, some of them could be a reading where I just get down to, exactly what's going on the surface, but more than likely a lot of spiritual messages like what's going on behind the scene spiritually is going to come up as well. So I feel like I feel spiritual attack from this person, from this parent, as in trying to purposely throw you off balance. This could be a narcissistic parent, honestly. I'm not really surprised that that's coming up. Trying to figure out the best way to explain what I'm hearing. Because when you hear spiritual attack, I feel like some people automatically get this image in their mind of like a person going to like a voodoo priest and, doing dark magic. And that's not always the case. Sometimes people can just really be envious of you, jealous of you, or just they dislike you because of something within them. And they can send you very negative energy and negative thoughts. And that can count as a spiritual attack. And a lot of people don't know that really does influence your energetic field, or it really does influence your emotions and how you think and things like that. So when you have a hidden enemy, especially if it's a parent, they could be spiritually attacking you 24/7 just with their manipulation, their mind games, them sending you negative thoughts and things of that sort. So don't get afraid. I'm always like, please don't be scared whenever I say spiritual attack, because it just sounds much worse than what it probably is. I mean, it's still bad, but you know what I mean. Let's see what else I'm getting from this. This parent holds a lot of shame, for sure. A lot of shame. And like I said, I feel like they take the shame off of their backs and they kind of chuck it onto yours, because they can't deal with the shame that's inside of them. So they'd rather transfer it onto you. And if you have siblings, I feel like it's the same case, but it may have manifested in different ways with your siblings. But I feel like it could be the exact same case, is what I'm seeing. The Page of Swords is here as well. So to me, this could talk about infantilization. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Infantilization, where basically they could have planted in your head thoughts to make you feel inadequate and make you feel like you can't really survive on your own, so that then you would always have to be dependent on them. So they could be constantly reminding you of how rough the world is and how hard it is to make it on your own, and how no one's going to love you like your parents do, and things like that. Or they could also be trying to guilt trip you, like, are you really going to leave and abandon me, and make you feel guilty about starting a new life outside of the home. It's like they're trying to keep you in a state of needing them or depending on them in some way. Some of them could be using finances to try to keep you dependent on them, is what I'm seeing. That finances message was very, something's trying to come through with that finances. For some of you, I think this is specific or a very small group of you. For some of you, you receive some sort of money, or you receive some sort of finances, and they hold it from you, or they withhold it, or they constantly ask you for money and they spend your money so that you can't move out. Something along those lines for some of you. But this is definitely, like I said, overall a parent who just really wants to keep you dependent on them. And I think their go-to method is your mind, like convincing you that you can't make it on your own, so that you have to stay with them. Because no one, if you think about it, you really don't have to hold anyone hostage. You don't have to tie them up and keep them locked away. All you have to do is hijack their mind and convince them that you can't make it alone and they'll never leave. And I think that's what this parent does. And deep down inside, that is a product of them fearing abandonment. Now, don't take that as you have to feel bad for them, or that you have to stay because, oh, they fear abandonment. That's terrible. I don't want to abandon them then. Because it's playing out in a very toxic, lower vibrational way. Some people fear abandonment, and so they'll try their hardest to appease you and make you happy for you to stay. This is not happening with them. It looks like they're trying their hardest to manipulate you into staying, or to kind of break you down psychologically so you don't abandon them. So don't take that as, oh, I should feel guilty or I should feel bad for them. Yes, you can feel empathy for them, but don't forget about the empathy for yourself, and your own well-being. Let's just pull one more. I'm gonna pull one more on their side. Yeah, see, King of Swords, manipulative, master manipulator, whoever this person is. And I'm not trying to bash your parents. Like, don't think that I'm coming on here just to do a whole reading talking shit about your parents. This is clarity that you would need to know, or that you would want to know, or that you are confused about in some way, because that's the intention that I set before I started this video. But yeah, I think this person's a master manipulator. I don't think this is an instance where they are not aware of what they're doing. I think they're aware of what they're doing. We're going to get into the emotional state of this person. We're going to dive deep into them, but I'm going to pull one more card for your side first. I'm getting that some of you feel very suffocated by this parent as well. You feel kind of smothered by them, even if you're not living with them. Their energy is just very dominating, and it kind of engulfs you. Even when you're not near them, it's like you can't help but to still play out certain patterns that they instilled in you. A lot of the thoughts or the ways that you think about the world and about yourself has, everything to do with their conditioning and the way that they conditioned you in your mind. Whew, okay. Three of Swords, Judgment card. So some of you could be actively healing, or you're trying to heal. I'm assuming that you are, since you're watching a tarot video. Three of Swords is here. Some of you are trying to heal from whatever the heartbreak is, from this betrayal from your parent or the manipulation. Some of you could have already realized that they were this way, and you did some healing work already. I think the universe might have stepped in for a lot of you and kind of guided you to information that told you that this person was narcissistic, or something like that. But it looks like a lot of you are in the healing process, or you're going to be in the healing process soon enough as you gain more and more clarity about this situation, is what I'm seeing. I think the universe is going to help you out of this situation if the universe hasn't already done that. The universe, a higher power, God, whatever you believe in, I feel is going to help you out of this situation. If that hasn't already happened, I feel like it will be happening with the Judgment card here. This is like a rebirth, like the universe kind of dragging you out of a situation that seemed hopeless in order for you to have a fresh new start and a new beginning, because it really was not fair the way that you were being treated. It's like you didn't have a fighting chance from the time that you were born up until now. You really had very little control over what went on in your life. So I feel like the universe is like stepping in and helping to remove you from that situation. I want to dive deeper into your parents' mindset, their emotions, and things of that sort. Celebration card. Control in reverse. Wow, I'm gonna fix the camera in a second so you can see. Turning in. I'm not too shocked or surprised by this. Move this over. Celebration, control in reverse, turning in. So your parent, your toxic parent, does not experience inner conflict. When they do certain things to people, when they are being abusive and things like that, they don't later on go to bed and think, wow, I shouldn't have done that, or I feel bad about that. They found a way to justify their behavior in their own mind. Like they really have kind of like deluded themselves. I'm getting like a delusional energy of them literally feeling like they didn't do anything wrong, or that they're the victim in some way. So it's weird because it's like their mind, like the mind games they're playing, it's on purpose But then it's almost like they can play games with their own mind into convincing them that they're actually the victim or that what they did wasn't wrong in some way. They'll find a way to justify whatever means of control or manipulation they've been taking part in. The control card is here in the reverse. So this parent definitely does fear losing control. Not just of their kids, but I think of anything in their life in general. I feel a very deep fear in this parent, like a deep fear of abandonment, rejection, and it's expressing itself in a very dysfunctional, negative way. Celebration card, they worry about their image as well. Like the way they look to the public is very important to them. So I'm assuming they have a very low self-esteem, because that's the only thing that would make sense here. Like someone who's always trying to be in control, in power, want to maintain this reputation. They don't have any internal conflict. They're never sorry. They're never apologetic. They're always the victim. To me, that just screams low self-esteem, a point in their life where power was stripped from them in some way. And so now it's almost like they grew up to be an extremely power-hungry person because they were made to feel powerless in some way in their past. I'm going to try to dive deeper into that. Use my Rider-Waite deck. Oh no, I'm going to use the Kipper deck to clarify. Imprisonment in reverse. Main female. Yeah, okay. Bad health. Okay. So, this over. So the imprisonment card being here in reverse, main female, and then the bad health card. To me, the imprisonment card in reverse talks about them wanting to get out of their head. Like they don't want to think about certain things or their feelings or their emotions because it makes them feel trapped. So instead, they are living this sort of like fantasy, or they're putting on this sort of ego or this mask and playing pretend so that no one can really see the true them. But then, like I said, I feel like the true them makes them feel imprisoned. It makes them feel like they're not in control. So they don't want to let that side of them out, like that sensitive side or that side of them that's actually, very gentle and caring. That side of them has been shamed and thrown away in a cage a very long time ago, is what I'm hearing. And if you are someone who's sensitive, that could be a very good reason why they mistreat you, is because it's like this sensitive side of them that's living within, that's locked away, that they don't want to face. So they have rejected that side of them a very long time ago and put on this mask, put on this facade, started playing these mind games and these manipulation games, and it's working for them. It helps them feel like they're okay, but deep down inside they still have that broken person inside of them, that broken sensitive person. And I think that they take it out on you, because I feel like you could be the physical embodiment of that part of them that they try to throw away or lock away. If you have a sibling that they treat better than you, it's possible that the sibling represents a part of them that they wish they could be. So they treat you see what I'm saying? It's not personal, but it's your parent, so it's going to feel very personal. But I always say it's just interesting for me to observe parents, because a lot of them give birth to different versions of themselves. And you can really tell which version of themselves they're in love with by which child they favor. And you can tell which part of themselves that they hate by which child they abuse and neglect. So just keep that in mind. Main female is here, so they always have to be center stage. I feel like they grew up with a parent who could have been like this, very narcissistic, selfish, and self-driven or self-focused. I'm gonna pull one more, because I don't think that this is not them as the main female. Official person 22. Yeah, I think that they might have grown up or was raised by some sort of narcissistic people as well. Some people who were very logical, who was like my way or the highway sort of thing. I feel like they were definitely starved of love in some way, and they were not made to be the center of attention. Whoever was raising them kind of put them on the back burner in some way, is what I'm seeing. Bad health, like, well, I'm getting a very clear image of like them being young or younger and having health complications possibly and being completely ignored. And it doesn't even have to be like health complications that were that terrible. Like they didn't have to be on their deathbed, but it could be as simple as like they had the flu and their parents didn't do much to nurture them, or something along those lines. It's like something that they experienced when they were younger. Because I feel like these energies are very, like, these are dominant energies, official person, main female. These are very dominant energies, and I'm not feeling that they're dominant in a good way. And these are people that raised your parent, or that your parent were raised around, is what I'm seeing. Sun and wealth in reverse. Yeah, I feel like they could also have experienced being neglected by whoever this parent or these parents were. Whoever their guardians were could have neglected them, either emotionally or they physically left, abandoned and neglected them. And they, like I said, they have this deep fear of inadequacy and being left. And so it expresses itself in this very negative, toxic way, that where they're constantly manipulating, deceiving and things like that, in order to psychologically break people down so that they never have to worry about being rejected or neglected like they got by this person. This is really crazy. The human mind is so fascinating. Hey, pull one more. We'll go over to your side, despair. I feel like whoever the person was that kind of ran out on them or rejected them or ignored them, they didn't have much time to grieve about it. And they felt powerless and hopeless. So they, like I said, shifted their attention to instead learning how to be the abuser and the manipulator, so they never have to be in the position where they feel any type of despair. I feel like they cut off their emotions because they had no emotional support. So that side of them became like a burden. You see what I'm saying? If you don't have emotional support, then those emotions are just these heavy things that you're carrying around that are doing nothing but harming you. So I feel like they kind of turned on their own emotions. By turned on, I mean like started thinking that their emotions were the enemy, which their emotions weren't the enemy at all. These people who clearly rejected them or abandoned them in some way were kind of the enemy. But the only closure that they could get was, I'm hurting. If my emotions weren't here, I wouldn't have to deal with this. That sort of thing. That's what I'm seeing. Could have struggled financially as well. So I'm getting that some of them could have had a spouse in the past that kind of ran out on them. Some of them had a spouse that stole money from them. I think that's a very specific message that I just got. So this could be like I said, them feeling made powerless by a parent or a spouse, where they eventually decided it's time to cut their emotions off. And in order to never have to face this type of feeling again, now they, like I said, use narcissistic tactics to make people stick around. Whew, okay, I'm gonna pull 3 more for you, then we're gonna move on to the extended, because we're at 22 minutes already and I don't want to make this too long. Silence. Understanding. Adventure. So I feel like a lot of you, the main blockages or wounds that were created within you were having to do with your peace of mind and your identity. Because the silence card being in the reverse, I feel like you could just never have peace of mind in your household. Even when you did try to be alone or just shut everyone out, I feel like this parent could have started causing chaos or drama for no reason, or something along those lines, like your house was too dysfunctional for you to fully function, is what I'm seeing. Understanding card is here in the reverse. Oh, too dysfunctional for you to function. God. The way these messages come through is funny to me. The understanding card is here in the reverse. So that means that some of you felt like you were misunderstood a lot, that they just didn't understand you. This is black sheep for sure. This is black sheep energy for sure. Scapegoat energy, feeling very misunderstood, feeling very isolated. And it's interesting because if you look at this, on their end, we have the imprisonment card in reverse, and then on your end, understanding card in reverse. So you can see that your energies sort of mirror each other. Them, this is how they felt when they were younger. This is how they made you feel. You see what I'm saying? Very similar. And that's why I said, I noticed this about parents. There's something called the sub-self within each person. Like, we all have these different sides of us. And I feel like it's interesting to see parents actually literally give birth to sub-selves of them. And it's like, I hate that part of me and I gave birth to it. And now I'm going to have to destroy it. Hoping that if they destroy you or break you down, that it'll get rid of that side of them that they despise, which doesn't work at all. Because you're not the enemy. their emotions aren't the enemy either. Them trying to constantly suppress and run from the emotion is what's actually the enemy. But of course, you know, when people's trauma runs deep, they don't see that and they don't want to see it. Adventure card is also here. So I feel like some of you are experiencing a rebirth currently, or you're going to experience a rebirth soon enough. And this is being orchestrated by a higher power because it's right under the Judgment card. Some sort of new beginning that's orchestrated by a higher power, and it has something to do with healing what this person put you through. So we're going to finish this in the extended. Wow, this got kind of deep. We're going to finish this in the extended. I'm basically going to pull more cards, looking into their state of mind, you know, why they do the things that they do, and then pulling more cards for to give you more clarity about, you know, what's going on here with this new adventure and this rebirth that I feel like is about to happen. So thank you for watching this video. I really hope it was helpful. I'll leave the link to the extended down below, and I'll see you guys over on Vimeo. Bye.